Hi YouTube, thanks for tuning in again to Jeeps Rock. I've got another project here that I'm exactly not sure, maybe in this area right here that we might be working on. Let me give you just a little bit more of a hint. Something in this box here. I'm not sure if that's either a hint or maybe something that's throwing you off, but I'm definitely not going to be putting airbags on this. I think this is lifted enough as it is. So stay tuned, and really excited to show you what I've got in store for you guys. Thanks a lot. Okay, with further ado here, it is a Firestone box. And what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We're gonna be doing an air tank, a 2-gallon air tank to be precise. And believe it or not, this is gonna fit in the back right above one of the fender wells. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is made in the US of A. So stay tuned and I'll show you what all we're gonna have to do to make this happen. Okay, first of all, probably gonna need a little bit more of a extended air hose. Three-way air manifold coupler. Some repair kits. What this is gonna be for is so that we can cut this 50-foot air hose, use whatever we need to extend it to the back, and then we'll use the rest of it and make ourselves an extra air hose that we can hook up to the tank. And we need a metal coupling for 3/8 to 1/4 for this manifold to work, because it's got a 3/8 in the inner side there. So it's a 3/8 interior in diameter, and then we've got the coupling to make that to a 1/4. And the reason for that is because the course is only a 1/4 inch inlet and outlet. Might be nice to know what pressure we're going to be going up to. And this is up to 300 psi, which is way more than the ARB dual compressor can do. So I just want to make sure that we are safe and we know exactly what our pressure is in that at all times. And then we have some miscellaneous stuff from Ace. There's going to be some elbows, a couple of extensions, and a 90, and that's actually to come off of the dual compressor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do a quick build on this. And here's our air tank. Here's our couplers. 300 psi gauge. Just have a few steel L's here that are just going to go on either side. And then again, you need a 3/8 to 1/4 to adapt that. You always want to make sure that you're using some plumber's tape. And we'll go ahead and assemble this. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and take out these little spots here that are keeping these inlets from the factory. Just going to wrap that around the threads just a few times. Go ahead and just do those real quick, get it all done. You're just doing this so you have a nice clean seal. Keeps So this thread's nice and clean. Not sure if I'm going to do this or not, but I'm going to give it a shot. Looks like it's going to go just fine. Got one more to do. Just wrap it around so you can still see the thread. You don't want to go too thick. And just pull. Just going to hand tighten these for now. So you can kind of take a look and see what you're going to see here when it's finished. Again, these are all quarter. So you can kind of see how it's taking shape now. And you'll see why I'm doing the L here on the back instead of just going straight out the back. I'll show you why, because when we get it back in the back of the vehicle, you'll see how close it really is. So there's really only one way to do that, and that's to make the L. Plus it'll be a lot easier to access here at the top than it would be on the outside here. But that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm just going to go ahead and get out some of my wrenches here, and we'll get these all tightened up. Okay, what we've done now is we've moved over back to the DARKSIDE, and we're looking at the ARB air compressor. This is the dual, and on the dual there is either a connection right here, and this is actually being used for the front ARB lockers that I have on the DARKSIDE. And again, I want to thank the Ultimate 444 Dana from Spicer. That's what's actually running the lockers here on the front, and it's one of the very first ARB air lockers that's built into it. And what we're going to do here is on the back right here is where the quick disconnect is, and we're going to remove that quick disconnect, and what we're going to do is put an extension, and then we're going to put an elbow and then put that quick disconnect right back on, because that's still where the air hose that I showed you earlier is going to go. And then eventually when we're done, it's going to come through here and then down through here, and then it'll go all the way to the back. So I'll go ahead and show you that here in just a few minutes. Okay, so what we had to do is we went with a 1/4 to 1.5 inch, and what that allowed us to do was to be able to put this here in the back and still clear the ARB compressor. With the first extension I tried, which is a lot shorter, probably have a little bit better angle to it, but it wouldn't clear the back here. So the only way I could get that done is to go to a 1 1/2 extension, and then we have an elbow, and then the quick disconnect that was on there before. Okay, this is what it looks like now with that installed. And I must say, I am so much happier with that. So even if somebody has watched the video up to this point and decides they don't want to do the tank, this is a great way to get a little bit easier access, as well as it doesn't stick straight up, and it comes right out the side, which I like it a lot better this way. Again, that's your preference as well, but I just wanted to show you this is what it's going to look like. It's going to come out here with our quick disconnect, and we're getting ready here to do a quick air tank test to make sure this is all going to work correctly. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and see and time this and see how long it takes to get to 150 psi. That is what the dual compressor by ARB can do. So stay tuned. As soon as you hear that compressor go on, I will hit the start button. So at 1 minute 35 seconds, it filled 150 psi for a 2-gallon tank. That is pretty impressive. So now we have a volume of tank for 2 gallons, and if you wanted to, you could do even just a portable tank if you needed to do that as well. So different options out there for you guys, but stay tuned and we'll get this installed in the back of the Jeep. Okay, you may have noticed at the first in my video I showed a different air hose. What I had to come up with is actually finding one that was a smaller diameter. Before it was 3/8, now it's 1/4. The reason for that is it was too thick to fit through the fender and then through all of the extra inlets and outlets throughout the rest of the Jeep. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use this. It's still the same amount of 50 feet, but again it's in 1/4 diameter instead. Just wanted to show you the little bit of a change I had to make for this build. Okay, the next thing that's required is we're going to have to get access to the firewall. And to do that, what we'll need to do is go to the left side, driver's side, and just go ahead and pry this off. You can either use a screwdriver, or what I have is a pry tool, and it just helps that from getting scuffed up on the actual plastic. So it's plastic to plastic instead of metal to plastic. So you just start at the bottom, work your way up. Just bring that out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you guys and gals. Right here is some foam that's from the factory that they use to plug that hole up, just to keep any kind of debris or anything from coming in, but it'd be pretty hard to get anything there anyway. So removing this little bit of foam out of here is not going to hurt anything, and this is actually where the hose is going to go through. So the hose is going to connect to the air compressor, and then we're going to follow it down and then just go through all of the trim paneling and all the way to the back. So stay tuned and we'll show you how that's going to happen. Okay, we're getting ready to go ahead and cut this hose. What I've done is I went ahead and found the center of it, and I subtracted 5 just so it'll be 30 and 20. That gives us plenty to be able to reach all the way around the vehicle with a 30-foot hose, and then that way we still have enough in case we need to extend the hose back to the back a little bit more, but 20 feet should be more than enough. So, and I don't want to have to roll up 40 feet of hose if I don't have to. So I think 20 and 30 is a good kind of almost an even split. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this real quick. I'm just going to use some garden shears right here to cut it. You want a nice even cut. And there you go. So now we'll go ahead and put that through the foam that we had talked about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and remove most of that because, as you can see, it's pretty thick for that hole, but we'll go ahead and make that work. Okay, I'm really excited to show this to you because I didn't even know this really even existed. But again, this is where we're trying to bring the hose from the end of the ARB compressor, but this could be used for a lot of other things, especially if you want to do some like side light pods or something like that to the S pod. It's a real easy way, that way you don't have to run a whole bunch of wires. You just go straight from that pod that's just outside the windshield here and then through the console, and then you're done. So that's a nice little feature as well. But again, this is another whole section that you can run wires through if you needed to. You don't have to use for the air hose, but I just want to show this to you. And also, don't give up. This has a lot of foam from the factory. I didn't realize how much there was, but here is the opening, and I'm going to go ahead real quickly and run over to the other side. And what I'm using is a fishing line. It's by Klein Tools, and what it is just a metal line that allows you to push through but way back in there, you can maybe see a little bit of the foam, but whoever at the factory had a lot of fun using up a lot of extra foam that probably wasn't necessary, that expanded over from the other side. So I had to chip away at it with this little bit of a fishing line. Again, it was metal, so it was easy to kind of break apart, but I finally was able to break through. So I just want to show you that is actually where the hose is going to go into, and then into your vehicle. So we'll get right on it. Okay, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say this took me a while. I've got foam all over me, foam everywhere. But once you get it through, you're definitely going to need something like some kind of fishing line like this. What I wound up doing is I went ahead and put the tube straight through the hook and taped it up, and then just pulled and pulled, and here it comes. And then this is what's going to go to the back of the air compressor. And again, this is called Klein Tools. It's a fishing line. It's actually metal, and you can just reel it in just like it would be a fishing pole, and get it on out there. And I just cannot wait to finish this up. So earlier I had mentioned that we're going to cut this down the middle between like 20 and 30 feet. And by doing so, I went ahead and took the harder route just so that I would be able to have a quick disconnect directly on the air compressor versus just making my own connection. I would have a nice connection directly on the air compressor. So now what I'm going to do is just put a quick disconnect on here in case I ever want to remove it. This will be a lot simpler than having to like actually bolt it straight to the air compressor. So again, we're just going to use just a quick little bit of plumber's tape here. Okay, so now this has all been tightened up. I went ahead and zip tied it. I have some existing wire loom that I was using for my my light bar, so I was able to just tie that in, and as you can see, it's right here. It's nice and clean, nice and smooth, and I also have a nice gentle bend to it, so it's not going to get any kind of kinks on it, because I have to make sure that there are no kinks in this at all, because I'm also using this to run my air lockers as well. So yes, this is a nice addition, but I want to make sure that I don't lose the functionality of my Ultimate 44 Dana lockers with the ARB built into it. So again, we've gone from the air compressor through the firewall, and now we're going to go ahead, remove some trim real quick, and then we will put that black tank that I showed you way earlier in the video and get this all finished. Okay, the daylight has now turned to dark, so I'm doing the best I can with the lighting that I have, but here it is installed. It is on the driver's side right next to the roll bar, and you can see again the gauge, and as we go back here you can see the connections. The green connection will be the external, whatever you want to use to, if you want to help another person out while they're airing up their tires, or if you need to just get something quick access to it. You no longer have to lift the hood to get to the your air station. And also the gray tube that we did earlier is located here in the back, and this is the fill line. So I still have one more connection if I want to run something else off that as well. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again.